You know that feeling when someone who's been fake nice to your face finally gets exposed?
Well. How the turntables?
Well, multiply that by 1,000,000, add some carpool karaoke, and you've got the absolute beautiful downfall of James Corden. This man went from beloved British comedian to the most hated person in Hollywood faster than you can say spill your guts or fill your guts. And honestly, we all saw it coming from a mile away, because James Corden didn't just fall from grace. He face planted into it, rolled around in it, and then somehow made it everyone else's problem. We're talking about a guy who fooled America for way too many years, built an empire on being the nice guy, and then burned it all down because he couldn't stop being a complete nightmare to everyone around him. So grab some popcorn, because we're about to break down how James Corden went from carpool karaoke king to restaurant banning, staff screaming, bridge burning legend. And trust me, by the end of this video, you'll understand why his downfall wasn't just inevitable, it was absolutely deserved. But first, let's rewind to when James Corden was actually likable, which feels like ancient history at this point. Back in 2007, this dude co-created Gavin Stacey with Ruth Jones, and honestly, it was actually good. He played Smithy, the loud but lovable best friend, and British audiences ate it up. The show became a cultural phenomenon, and suddenly James went from struggling actor to household name. But here's where things get interesting, and by interesting I mean concerning. Because even back then, people close to him started noticing changes. His co-star Rob Brydon had to pull him aside and basically say, "Yo, you're being a dick." And even his own sisters told him, "James, don't be a dick." So when your own family has to stage an intervention about your attitude, that's not a red flag. That's a whole parade of red flags with fireworks. So the cracks started showing pretty early. In 2009, he tried to capitalize on his Gavin Stacey fame with the sketch called Horny and Gordon. Critics absolutely destroyed it, calling it excruciating and about as funny as credit default swaps. Damn. Then came Lesbian Vampire Killers. Yes, that's a real movie he made, which bombed harder than a failed TikTok dance, but the real tea started spilling in 2010 at the Glamour Award when Sir Patrick Stewart, Captain Picard himself, called him out on stage for looking bored and unprofessional.
When the presenters are up here and when the recipients are receiving their awards, don't stand at the back of the stage with your hands in your pockets.
Instead of taking the criticism like an adult, James went full defensive mode, basically telling a legendary actor that he was dying on stage.
And we can all see you dying right now. Let's go for it. Here we go.
Then came 2014 and CBS made what seemed like the most random decision ever. They gave this relatively unknown British guy Craig Ferguson's Late Late Show. Americans were like, "James who?" But CBS had a plan, and that plan was carpool karaoke. Now, I'll give credit where it's due. Carpool karaoke was genius. Watching Adele belt out her hits while James drove around was genuinely entertaining. This segment went mega viral, raking up billions of views and making James look like the most charming guy on the planet. Suddenly, he was everywhere, hosting award shows, appearing in movies, becoming America's favorite British import. But here's the thing about viral success. It can mask a lot of problems. While audiences saw this bubbly, singing, dancing host who just wanted everyone to have fun, the people actually working with him were getting a very different experience. The first major crack in his nice guy facade came during a Jimmy Kimmel appearance where they played Spill Your Guts or Fill Your Guts. Kimmel asked James to name 2 of his camera operators and bro couldn't do it.
Name 2 of the cameramen in this room.
It's a different crew tonight, actually.
After working with these people every single day, he had no clue what their names were. That's not just awkward, that's telling you everything you need to know about how he treats people. Then, in 2017, just days after the Harvey Weinstein scandal broke, James thought it would be hilarious to make jokes about it at gala.
Right here in LA, it's so beautiful. Harvey Weinstein has already asked tonight up to his hotel to give him a massage.
But the crowd was not having it, and neither was the internet. Rose McGowan called him a piglet, and honestly, she wasn't wrong. Reading the room has never been James's strong suit, apparently. In 2019, James did a Reddit AMA, which is basically walking into a lion's den covered in steak sauce. The comments were absolutely brutal. People shared stories about him being entitled, aggressive, and treating service staff like garbage. One person described him as a massively entitled who yelled and treated the waitstaff like James answered exactly 5 questions before noping out of there faster than someone leaving a group chat after sending the wrong message. So the internet had spoken and they were not fans. But now let's talk about his movie career, which was basically a masterclass in how to destroy your reputation. First came Cats, where James played a CGI nightmare cat that haunted everyone's dreams. The movie was so bad that James admitted he never even watched it.
I don't know, I haven't seen it, so I've not watched the film.
Imagine being so embarrassed by your own work that you refuse to see the final product. Then came The Prom, where the straight man decided to play a gay character using every offensive stereotype in the book. It was like watching someone's problematic uncle try to do drag. Painful, cringeworthy, and completely missing the point. But the moment that really sealed his fate happened at Balthazar restaurant in New York, when his wife's omelette came out wrong. James allegedly went full Karen mode, screaming at the staff and telling them they couldn't do their jobs. The restaurant owner called him a tiny cretin of a man and the most absurd customer in 25 years. James tried to defend himself, claiming he didn't yell or scream, but the damage was done. When a respected restaurant owner publicly drags you, that's not a misunderstanding. That's a pattern of behavior finally getting exposed. And once the floodgates opened, the stories just kept pouring in. TV directors called him the most difficult presenter they'd ever worked with.
The most difficult and obnoxious presenter I've ever worked with is James Corden.
Writers accused him of trying to pay them less than industry standard. People shared stories of him ignoring his own wife and child on flights, screaming at busboys, and generally being a nightmare human being. The parallel to Ellen DeGeneres was impossible to ignore. Both had built empires on being nice, and both were revealed to be the complete opposite when the camera stopped rolling. So by 2022, James's reputation was in freefall. His late show ratings were tanking, his viral clips weren't hitting like they used to, and Hollywood was quietly distancing itself from him. Even his carpool karaoke guests seemed less enthusiastic about being there. So the writing was on the wall, and in April 2023, James announced he was leaving the Late Late Show.
I've decided to sign for 1 more year on the show, and that this will be my last year.
He claimed it was to spend time with family, but let's be real. When your career is imploding and everyone hates you, family time is just a nice way of saying damage control. Because his final episode was meant to be this big emotional farewell with Harry Styles and Adele, but instead of feeling like a celebration, it felt more like a funeral. And not the sad kind, the revealing kind. And CBS didn't even bother replacing him with another talk show host. They just moved on. And that's the ultimate insult in Hollywood, being so forgettable that they don't even try to find a replacement. So why is James Corden's downfall so satisfying to watch? Well, it's simple. We all know someone like him. That person who's fake nice to your face but treats everyone like garbage. The guy who takes credit for other people's work and then acts like the victim when called out. So for too many years, James Corden convinced America he was this lovable, humble guy who just wanted to make people smile. But the truth is, he was always showing us who he really was. We just weren't paying attention. The entitled behavior, the explosive temper, the complete disregard for anyone who couldn't help his career, it was all there from the beginning. His downfall wasn't a tragedy, it was karma finally catching up. And honestly, it couldn't have happened to a more deserving person. Sometimes the universe gets it right, and watching someone who built their career on fake niceness get exposed for who they really are, That's not just satisfying, that's justice. But what do you think? Did James Corden deserve his downfall, or was he just misunderstood? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and remember, treat your camera operators with respect, or you might end up like James Corden. Peace.